Welcome to Tunnel Talk, a no facts, all feelings wrestling podcast on the Social Suplex Network. I'm Allie.
I'm Ann.
And I'm Leah.
How are you guys doing this week? Oh, happy Galentine's Day.
Happy Galentine's Day.
Happy Galentine's Day.
Wow.
I'm good. I'm making I'm making a woolly mammoth head for my nephew for his birthday in a couple of weeks. And it's like coming along pretty well. I've got like a lot of the pieces done. So now I'm getting stressed about like putting it together. Plus, because like I've kind of I took a couple patterns and have like Frankenstein them together. So it's like, it might go real bad once, but it looks like it fits. And I'm getting pretty stoked about it. So we'll see if I get it done in time.
I'm so excited to see that.
Yeah. It's awesome. Based on this Canadian kids show, because my nephew is going to turn 4 and now he's obsessed with dinosaurs, which is pretty exciting. And woolly mammoths are they're not a dinosaur, but they're his favorite
little dinosaur.
Yeah, his prehistoric animal. So good stuff.
Wow. Leah, how are you doing?
Can't complain.
Well, you could if you wanted to.
Yeah, if you want to complain, feel free.
Hey, Leah, if you want to complain, you can. You want to tell us, you don't have to if you don't want to. You want to tell us how we're doing on Supernatural?
Well, I'd like to actually tell a little story. So, if I can.
I wish you
would. Is it supernatural related?
Oh, it sure is. And thank you for asking. It sure is.
Wonderful.
So, it's Sunday night, and we say, hey, girls, who's around to watch TV? And Ann says, I'm at my parents'. I'll be home in an hour. And Allie says, well, Leah, I'm free now. Do you want to watch something before Ann gets home? And I was like, yeah, if you can think of something that we can watch. And she says, what episode of Supernatural are you in? Maybe I'll just jump in. And I said, wow, I'm at a season finale. That sounds great. So we watched the season finale of 12 together. And don't you know, I got a DM that said, hey, so is the rest of the season
Alexandra? Oh,
so,
no.
Guess who's watching Supernatural now?
Allie, I didn't know that. I love hearing that.
Well, I was kind of saving it for this. Yeah, Leah was doing it.
I don't love to hear it.
What I will say is, wow, you can really watch that show. It really is just can really happen to you is what I would say about it.
That's why you shouldn't open the door and say, Leah, I'll watch a little 1 hour with you.
But I will say, coming in at 13, you don't feel the urge to go back. That is something I will say really positive about Supernatural is you don't have that feeling of like, oh, maybe I'll just go see what happened before. No urge. It's like, I could just keep letting this wash over me going forward, but there's only 2 more seasons left.
And that's doable. That's completely doable and normal.
It's actually so fine.
It's doable. It's one of those things where you can do it, but should you, you know?
It's really, I've been putting it on during work, and it just is the best background noise. You never want to rewind. If you miss something, you never think, like, I've got to go back and catch that.
It is. When I turn on Supernatural, I take my brain out of its skull and I put it into the warmest, nicest saltwater bath. And then it doesn't run. It doesn't think. It doesn't do anything. We just sit there together. And
it's so poorly written, but there's almost like so little to say about it at a certain point. You're just like,
is it a warm saltwater bath that you're in, or is it a bath of toxins?
Well, season 13,
the
what's happening in season 13 of Supernatural, not plot wise, but you can just tell from some of the stuff that's kind of going on. The like episode of the week stuff, you're like, okay, so a new writer was hired, and they are a sadomasochism pervert. They love watching the Saw movies, the Eli Roth Splat Pack Hostel stuff, and that's the energy that they brought to the season. They were just like, more gore. It's gonna be so nasty, and you're just like, I think you should kind of fire this person.
It is true that like the earlier seasons were much more concerned with like souls and emotions and stuff like that. And these later seasons are like, he cut his arm off with a butter knife.
People's mouths are sewn shut, and
oh no,
it's not a good show. But the other show, I've been watching that. I've been watching that, and I've been watching Psych. And Psych is that's a real bath. That's so pleasant.
No one's mouths are getting sewn shut on Psych.
We can
the favorite show of Zoomers. Zoomers love Psych, they're out there saying it's their favorite show.
That is true. Wow, those Zoomers, they're really setting the tone. Okay, so two have fallen. Gondor has fallen. No longer can I be a voice of reason on this topic.
It's so troubling.
Here's the thing. Most winters I have seasonal depression. And I didn't the winter of 21 because I watched all of BTE. Then I did ever since then. Now, this winter, emotionally healthy because I have a project. So it turns out that every winter I have to have a project, and if I unhook my brain, then I don't feel sadness.
It's good to set yourself a little productive goal, like watching the entire run of Supernatural.
And if I could ask the listeners not to send a clip of that to my psychiatrist, that would be great.
Oh my God. Well, what can any of us say? Things happen in this life. Things happen, and you're just along for the ride.
Yeah, in February things happen.
In February, things happen.
You can't be held responsible for January and February behavior, certainly.
It's so true. These are months outside of time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was a great check-in for all of us, I think. And, hopefully soon we are watching The Sopranos. I don't think we said that on the show.
Somebody asked us whether we were still watching Battlestar Galactica, and we explained that we had to take a pause because our friend Aaron had some family stuff. So the three of us have switched to a cult indie little production called The Sopranos.
But explain how I believe you described the experience of watching The Sopranos. That means that we have to take it a little slower than some shows we've seen.
I'll tell you, it's no Supernatural.
Brain's not in a bath for that one.
No, you have to watch The Sopranos with your eyes, your ears, your powerful mind,
and your heart.
So true.
But I love it.
Oh my God. Anyway, but we'll have some more Battlestar Galactica updates for you in a few weeks or months, and we'll have some Sopranos updates for you. But it might not really, because it's just kind of pretty well written. I would say it's like a pretty good show. So you kind of watch it and you think wow, that was good to see.
And we're the first to observe that.
Yeah.
No one is saying that other than us. Should we talk wrestling?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You want to hop on the title scene to start. So this week on Dynamite, Samoa Joe cut an in-ring promo in which he explained. I loved this explanation. He said that he reinstituted the ranking system at AEW in order to make sure that he be fed, quote, only the best victims to destroy. But unfortunately, the AEW Championship Committee, quote, rewarded mediocrity by giving Swerve and Hangman a 3-way after last week's draw. So quick pause to just say, we haven't seen this committee.
Where is the committee? It's a real picks or it didn't happen, Samoa Joe. I need to see the committee in action.
Who is on it? What are their criteria? Mm-hmm. When are they meeting?
Is it all lawyers and Bryan Danielson? What is going on?
Does Tony Khan even get to be on the committee? Is my question.
That's a great question.
So Samoa Joe said, quote, obviously a crime has been committed against me. Loved that. Swerve came out then in jeans, which is important because he did look, I would say, really good.
Really good.
I believe our
really,
group
really
chat
good.
was just a wall of people going, thighs.
It was, yes. So he came out and confronted Joe. I think that the gist of it was kind of funny because these were 2 minutes where the vibe was that they were like, okay, Samoa Joe isn't really kind of a part of any of this. So Swerve will kind of pitch the idea that, yes, he is. And it is kind of personal. And, he'll pitch some of this. And then Hangman came out and confronted both of them. And that was just like out the window. It was like, no, he doesn't matter. As always, he doesn't matter.
They both 100% forgot that Samoa Joe was there. He tried to grab the mic to yell at them to remind them that he actually has the championship, and they were like, great. They went back to glaring at each other. He walked out the ramp clearly hoping they were watching him. They were not watching him.
He looked back.
No one was watching him.
He looked back to be like, are they watching me leave? Are they sorry for what they did? And they were looking at each other.
I hate to see him leave and don't watch him go.
They were literally just in kissing pose, totally ignoring him. It was just
we're gonna do this
Samoa
again?
Joe's life.
We gonna do this again?
Didn't you feel like this week, we had reached the point in the Rivals scenario where I'm like, it's getting late in the season and they're kind of so into fighting, they're understanding it on a different level that it's it was kind of, there was a fun playfulness to it almost. They were so excited to be doing it again, actually. Does somebody want to say Hangman's line? Hangman's perfect line?
When you're writing your Dynamite reports, don't say I was bad. I wasn't bad.
I wasn't bad. Wow. That pop culture king. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Samoa Joe also with that great line, this walking domestic dispute ends tonight, which was one of the things he said in an attempt to become relevant to a scene in which he was irrelevant. He simply was not.
Of course he knows they're married. Samoa Joe knows that more than anyone. He's constantly trying to get their attention off each other unsuccessfully.
Oh my gosh. Any other, I guess, any new thoughts about what is going to happen at Revolution? This is it was a fairly short, perfect little segment that I think woke us all up, delightful. I think this was the only thing that really kind of moved things along. What do you think about the Revolution match?
I have no idea. I mean, something about the way Samoa Joe was like, I want to be fed challengers. I was like, you've only had Hook. So is it possible that he's going to lose at Revolution having only had Hook? Hook is... So I'm sorry to Hook, but he is nothing.
This was the week where I was like, Samoa Joe has kind of not been doing a lot. He's been delighting me as champ in a way he never did before. So it's I'm very fond of him, but it's it's just funny because it's well, he's kind of done these promos that have been taken over by two people who don't care about him at all. So I really feel like anything
being
could happen.
It's my special day, and it's two randos off the street came in and they've hijacked the wedding, and he just keeps being I paid for this wedding.
It's exactly like somebody proposed at your wedding, and you're like, bitch, propose somewhere else.
But instead, they've come up and they're like, can we get married right here and right now? This priest in front of this congregation. It is kind of weird that he hasn't fought anybody. That is such a good point that I had not thought of until someone put this in their notes.
I know.
I think it was you, Ann.
I don't know what's going to happen. I'm worried about Ospreay coming in. I'm worried because so many people were like, they need to strap up Okada as soon as he comes in. Yeah. And I'm like, guys, I mentally have already booked the rest of the years. So
right. So we can't be shaking it up with those guys for sure.
They're gonna have to
feel like it's the kind of thing where it's really any result, because I'd be fine with Samoa Joe keeping it a little bit longer actually, which I'm surprised by, and I'd be fine with either Hangman or Swerve. So it's as long as they keep Hangman and Swerve going as a storyline, I'm fine with it, but I really don't know what's going to happen.
I don't think that people should come into a company and just get a belt. We talked about it last week. We've accepted. I know you guys agree, but I just want to restate it because I felt like there was a high stress this week about what's going to happen with Okada when he comes in, and I was like, I can't wait to find out when he shows up.
I know. Well, I forget who it was, but somebody on Twitter.com was like, if Okada debuts at Big Business, he should win the belt that night. And I was like, what are we doing here?
That's wild. That's just a wild opinion. Yeah. I don't know.
We've come around a lot on belts, but that is sicko melted brain belt talk, okay? We'll never come around that far.
I genuinely think that there should be a company rule that you cannot win a belt until you have wrestled 25 matches or been here 6 months, whichever comes first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it is like, I think they need to think of this as like a TV show that they're putting on that has different storylines and different people that your audience is invested in. And like, it's great when new people come in. I can love a new talent, but let's keep our show on the rails and like integrate people into storylines.
I love when you describe literally what wrestling is, but of course I know exactly what you mean. It's like, guys, let's remember what we're actually watching. Okay? Let's remember what it is. It is a weekly TV program.
Television show.
Never forget. Do you guys have anything that you want to say about Brian Cage and Hook?
No, except Brian Cage is being just like sort of a little bit charming in this, which shocks me.
I think it is the best work that I've seen him do probably ever.
Yeah,
at least
it's like
in a long time.
The only personality I've ever seen, and it's like, of course, I'm not very interested in him still, but it's like, oh, that promo was a little bit funny, you know. It's just like, well,
it's fun that he's been experimenting with humor.
People can surprise you.
Yeah. That is so true, Anne. People can surprise you, even in wrestling. Let's move on and talk about Adam Copeland, who had an in-ring promo with Tony Schiavone on this week's Collision. I don't want to explain this. So Cope is third in the ranking, so I guess he can fight for either of the belts that isn't already being fought for at Revolution. So Tony was like, which belt are you going to fight for? Which I have to say is quite funny, where it's like, I think probably the one that his best friend / mortal enemy holds, if I had to guess. But
it would be quite the swerve if funny. He was like, I'll go for Orange Cat. Oh, well, I guess Orange has a belt.
The international belt. Yeah, I mean, that was his other option. And if he'd just been like, yeah, that sounds good. And everybody was just like, wow, the rankings really are shaking things up.
But he was intimating that he thought that he would challenge for the TNT belt. Danny Garcia came out. Oh, I forgot to say he did take a second to scold our EVPs for their heinous behavior last week.
I really enjoyed that he was like, if I was there, it wouldn't have happened. I was like, I don't know. I think probably would have.
Everyone else in the back just doesn't care the way that Copeland cares, you know?
Yeah. I really felt so proud. I was like, nothing could stop them. When they want to do bad things, they'll do bad things.
They'll do bad things.
But Danny Garcia came out in the middle of this promo to say that he's also been picking up plenty of wins, and he beat the Patriarchy last week in the trios match with FTR, and he actually wants a shot at the TNT title. So Cope was like, okay, he kind of was like, I think you're like an uppity young cub, but FTR like you, which is like, that's the least meaningful thing on earth. Like, if FTR like you, it's basically like a negative in my book. But he was like, okay, I will give you a shot. Next week, I'll fight you, and whichever of us wins will get the TNT title shot. And then as Danny Garcia went to leave, Cope like grabbed his arm and yanked him back. And should I read I'll read this little line. So he said, Cope said, now I know you had a match tonight, and that's the only reason I'm not taking your face off right now. But make no mistake about it, you're now threatening to take food off my family's table, and that does not work for me. So I am going to beat your ass next week. Okay. What did you guys think about the line, about the interaction, about the characterization? Like, what are you getting? Us as idiots.
It seemed like pretty normal trash talk, and I think it's a good place for Cope to be like kind of like cocky in this like I'm like in this big league way, like where he's like I'm the senior of this high school. I'm a starting quarterback. I get the nice showers. You know what I mean? And like Daniel Garcia is like, why are you being such a little bitch about it? You know, like he tweeted and he was like, yeah, you've had a feast since the day before I was born. I'm trying to get a bite. You know, like I feel like that's pretty normal like stuff, and it's like not bad.
Yeah.
He's our little underdog.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like basically didn't think anything of this line. Like it just went right by me. I was like, sure. I think the other thing that I'm getting from Cope is like very much like his character on Percy Jackson, where it's like at first he shows up, he's like kind of funny. He seems like maybe he's going to be helpful to the kids, but he's got this little mean edge to him where you're like, you don't trust him, you know? So I do feel like he's in a place where he could be set up really well for like a heel turn eventually, where it's like right now but he's so mad at Christian that it's like he's really on the edge.
He's a face right now because he's winning and because Christian is being so bad that like he's definitely facier in like comparison. But like if Cope started losing all the time, or like if he was facing someone different, I honestly feel like it would, like, a lot of the things he says would come off a little bit like heelier. You know what I mean? Like I
thought he came off as a heel in this promo in that moment. Like I thought it was, to me, it was such a clear thing where it's like someone is putting on a certain affect and then like the mask just like dropped and it was like, no, I'm a fucking asshole. And like, you don't get to be as big as me without being an asshole. It's like, as we're talking about this, I'm like, well, of course there's some Punk trauma here. Like it's like a similar type of character thing when like a big guy comes in and he's being like, oh, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be here. And then Punk was always doing stuff where we were like, okay, so he's heel turning because that is shitty behavior. And he was just like, no, I am a face. So it's like, I do get that it's, you know, a lot of wrestling is about like, can I trust someone to actually be dropping breadcrumbs that I'm supposed to follow? But I felt like he was, I guess. And maybe I'll quickly recap the match and we can talk about it in that context too. So Copeland and Danny Garcia did fight on Wednesday, but neither man won. Instead, Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus, I don't want to call him Killswitch, interrupted the match, beating up Garcia and Cope, and the match got thrown out. So no winners. Christian and Mother Wayne came out, and Christian pulled some chairs out from under the ring, and like Killswitch took out Danny Garcia. I hate describing this. Adam Copeland entered the ring, and he and Christian like whacked chairs at each other, and then Mother Wayne took Cope out, and then Christian cheers to the head chair. What is it called? Concerto. So Cope gets fully laid out and is like wrecked. But I was wondering if you guys had any thoughts about like how the match felt, like how their like alignments, I guess, felt, or how they were behaving in the match.
Yeah, I mean, I think Daniel Garcia seemed like you said earlier, he did seem like the underdog. Like, he is the one you're rooting for because, you know, like, Cope is older and has had shots already, and you want Daniel Garcia to get his shot. And I think, I mean, some of the way that Adam Copeland was behaving, I'm like, yeah, he was playing heel. Like, he absolutely was.
Yeah, didn't he break someone in the crowd's sunglasses? Yeah. Like, yeah, I mean...
I think this goes back to what we were saying last week, too, where it's like, it's okay for someone who is nominally a face right now to be doing some heelish stuff. It's so, like, it doesn't, like, this is the opposite of he can't be a heel because he's being cheered. You know what I mean? Like, This is the other side of it where it's like, you can, your face term can go so slowly that you're giving these kind of hints, and, like, that's okay. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It is, again.
And it's like... It is understandable if people think like it's not going to pay off in an actual heel turn, but I do feel sort of, I don't know. I feel like Big Cope is a better dude than Punk. I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't know, but he's been pleasing me so far, you know. So
and to please us, is, well, some ways
it's not that hard easy. Sometimes. Yeah, we have exacting,
but it is a great thing to do.
Standards.
It's important to please us. It's important to wrestle in ways that we like.
To get the fun-loving girls demographic? Like, not everyone gets that, I'll tell you.
Are we not the benchmark of success? Is not getting praise on this podcast the highest honor that you could look for?
Yeah. Cope is clipping this and putting it on his phone to listen back to and be like, yeah, that feels good.
Only those girls understand what I'm doing. They're the ones, they see me. They see my art. I am so glad.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like the payoff of a longer term heel turn where people are like you're really starting to see like, this is this person's flaws and this is what brings them out, and they're coming out more and more, and then whoop, there we go, we flip the switch. That's so satisfying, but it's true that like most wrestlers at this point, I'm like, I don't really trust you to do it. Like, I don't know if you'll actually do. I don't know if you're signaling what I think you're signaling, or you're going to do what you're going to do. But it's so like, it would just be so money on the table, like, not to have Cope and Christian get back together as evil gays. They should be so evil and so gay together.
Yeah, exactly. I think the other thing too is that, like, to me, Cope isn't taking up like that much time or focus, like especially compared to like Punk or somebody. So it's like, what if it doesn't pay off? Like, it's not going to break my heart or anything, you know?
So true. Because a lot of this has been on Collision, and I know that we are in a minority about this, but we still don't care about Collision. So
no, it's so boring, unfortunately.
so we're not that worried about it. Okay. Any other thoughts here about I don't know, any of this? Mother Wayne in that matching turtleneck.
Looked great in that turtleneck, and she and Christian were both doing some real haughty faces in a way where I was like, the patriarchy is maybe the best faction in AEW.
It's so good.
And the fact that Nick Wayne came out in the Christian Cage is my father shirt.
Yes.
Is it possible they're the only ones who are doing factions correctly?
Surprised they didn't put Daddy on there, but even so,
I had that same thought, and I was like, I guess they didn't really want to get into all that. This isn't a scissor me daddy ass shirt, okay? It's professional fathering.
Yeah. I need someone to make a decision about what's going on with Daddy Magic, though. Like, what role is he playing in this?
And where is Jeff Parker? He has just totally abandoned his family.
I'm worried that it's like no one is bringing this up enough. Exactly. It's like you are husbands and you adopted a child together, Danny Garcia. And he had, as far as I can tell from when he showed up, a rough life. Okay. He was a little surly. He was afraid to trust. You didn't know love, but you taught him love in your home. Yeah. In your home. You taught him what love is, and you taught him that it's like you have a safe space here because you have these two doting fathers. And now I think they have divorced as far as I can tell.
But it's not just like the marriage fell apart. It's like Jeff Parker moved out in the middle of the night and hasn't told anybody. Like, he has moved in with like Ruby or whatever's going on over there. He's not answering the phone. Nobody, like, oh my Danny's God, calling, right. Matt Menard's calling. Like, he is not checking his voicemail.
He left town.
Is he paying child support? He's gone.
I think it's like you get the Daddy Magic it's like Danny Garcia is being like, Daddy Magic, where's Papa Jeff? Where's Papa Jeff? And Daddy Magic is like, he doesn't know what to say. He's just like, well, Papa Jeff has his own stuff going on right now, but I'll always love you. But I'll always be here for you.
When they picked their names, like, you should have known that the one who went with Daddy Magic and not Cool Hand Ange would be the one who stuck around, but boy.
It's so
But rough. You know what, Jeff? This kind of behavior is what puts Danny at risk for being, like, sucked in by FTR.
Yeah, so, that's right. He's out there finding
FTR, that classic street drug that your teen will start doing if there's trouble at home.
Without a strong father, they're going to join some sort of gang headed up by the most boring men alive.
My family. He heard that like a little siren call. Like, oh, this man cares about family. Unlike my dad who left me. To me, it's not family values. I'll tell you that, Jeff Parker. Daddy Magic did, though. He got beat up by Luchasaurus for Danny. He loves him.
Yeah, it was nice.
I'm worried. I think that Danny is reaching the stage of his life where it's like he's going to be going off to college. It'll either be evil college or good college, depending on who recruits him to play football. But I'm worried. Like, what is going to become of you? It's like now he goes off to college. Daddy Magic has no child to take care of, no husband. His husband has run out on him. Like, what is there going to be for him? What does life hold for him?
He's not even trying to stop his husband from being with Ruby anymore because he hasn't seen him in weeks.
He gave up. I feel like he's trying to make this commentary thing where, like, stick. And I'm like, I like that for you.
Yeah.
If you're not going to be married, like I would rather,
I'd rather
in my
see you
ideal
married.
world, I'd rather see you married in a beautiful tag team wrestling. But of course,
we're the Mrs. Bennetts here. Of course, we want all our daughters to be married, obviously. But if one of them can't be married off and just has to live at home with us and play the piano badly, I guess it's fine.
Of course, you can hang out with Toni Schiavone if that's what makes you happy. But of course, I believe in the institution of marriage. I can't stop.
Leah's running for office.
I took this oath because of my interest in family values. Cut it.
If there's one thing this podcast is about, it's family values.
Yeah, that's what we've always said. We've always been blowing that horn. Okay.
Sometimes I think like when we veer into like a little Pride and Prejudice little riff, I just think, it's like on O&R when they talk about sports all of a sudden. I'm like, wow, I can't follow this at all. Like all the men listening to this podcast are like, well, 5 minutes that weren't for me, but I know. Okay.
I hope James and Rich know that we have that experience sometimes where we're just like, suddenly I don't know what's happening.
I love it because James will be like, listen, if you don't understand this, like, wake up. It's just like North Carolina versus South Dakota, 1997 NBA Finals.
Yeah.
What are you guys, stupid? And I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
So stupid. Anyway, Netherfield Park, let it last. Don't worry about it.
Oh, it's let it last. 1,000 a year. Okay, all right, let's move on to, this is kind of the hottest topic of the week, I think. Our EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, wrestled some jobbers on Rampage, cheated for no reason, crushed them, then cut an in-ring promo. They were allowed to speak in the ring for minutes at a time, like 3+ minutes in the ring.
That's huge.
And they congratulated Darby and Sting for their tag team title win, and said that they're not doing that well. They are having some medical issues, so get better soon. And they said that they will not politic their way into a match against the pair at Revolution. Instead, they will, quote, play by the rules, climb up the rankings, get ranked, be #1 contenders, and get the belts. I think they said our belts. Matt then ended the promo with a cheery, we love you guys so much. Let's have a killer show. His little Tony Khan impression. Very,
so
very fun.
Funny.
And then, in order to climb the rankings, the Bucks then fought Top Flight on Dynamite, cheated again, won again, cut another in-ring promo, this time with poor hapless Toni Schiavone, whom they berated, kind of batted between them like two little cats with a moth, threatened with fines, shoved to the floor, and then they almost EVP triggered him, but not before declaring themselves, after just one match, the #1 contenders. And they had a graphic all ready to go. They said, we are the #1 contenders now. So before they could EVP Toni Schiavone, Darby came out to chase them off, saved him, had some light but contentious promos. What did you guys think of the Bucks this week?
The new music, very fun.
Yes.
Of course, I missed Super Kick Party already.
Yeah.
But it is very fun. The new graphics with the private jet that they apparently have access to all the time. Please.
They're cruising in that jet. We got a couple of segments. They're getting off the jet. They're getting into limos. They're getting out of limos. They're beating up men. They're doing it all. What
They
can't they do?
wrestled both matches in the bloody suits. Extremely gross. Extremely disturbing. Loved it.
The blood has really oxidized. It is rusty. I'm loving it.
But on Dynamite, did you notice that Nick had a patch of fresh blood on his knee that he came out with? I think he added blood to it, but only in one part.
So we can just imagine that he gave someone a bloody nose with his knee backstage right before they came out.
In kayfabe, that feels right, but isn't it funny? I'm literally sitting here did anyone wrestle before them who bled in the match? Are people coming backstage and it's just get over here, rub your face on my knee. I need that fresh blood.
That's so true. I mean, Mox wrestled, but I don't think he bladed for once.
I don't think anyone bled before the main event, unfortunately, but
when I noticed the bright red patch, I was like, oh, is one of Top Flight bleeding? And they were not. I'm pretty sure he came out with it.
That's the good eyes, Leah.
Well, Only during Bucks matches.
Only during Bucks matches. Yeah, I think the whole new presentation is great. The in-ring promos were so good. Like the whole, it's funny because sometimes it's just like, what do you want me to say? Gimmick working so good.
So good.
They're being so funny. The like, I'm sorry, my brother's such a hothead, and then Matt being really passive aggressive. Like Toni Schiavone is such a good damsel in distress. It's crazy.
And I fucking loved the way that when they shoved Toni Schiavone down, the whole barricade who had been sitting there leapt to their feet in outrage. Yeah. Absolute outrage. The way the Bucks have the crowd like spellbound, like they are controlling the crowd. It's, oh my God. And
I mean, Toni Schiavone is just like a foolproof way to get people upset.
Yeah. And I love when Toni is making that little face like, I know this isn't going to end good, but it's my job, so I had to come out here. But he's being so mean to me, and he's in my face yelling at me. He's going to fine me $1,000 if I do anything.
And when he was on the floor and they were offering their hands to pull him up, and he just kept looking at them, and he was like, I know you're going to do something, but I don't have any other options.
Oh my God, it's so good. And then the thing is, so they had this match against Top Flight, which was great. It was so fun, but it also was really interesting because it's like we hadn't seen them like really wrestle in a while because they crushed these jobbers. And it was like, they're just so good. They just like did their characters in the ring in a way where it's like not everybody is doing this. And the great thing about these characters is that they are pretty like ludicrous, and they're cheaters. They're like kind of cowardly, right? They're cowardly. They're like hiding behind the EVP status, and everything about the way they wrestled was so great in that respect, where they are not afraid to look so fucking stupid. Like they're not afraid to look cowardly. They're not afraid to look like goofy, and they're wrestling in these fucking suits.
I'm obsessed with them wrestling in the suits. I understood it the first time, but they have surely now sweat in those suits.
I know. Right? I was thinking those suits have to smell
but they can't wash it because they can't.
They can only
the blood.
Them.
So they've got the sweat from Rampage in them. Now they've got the sweat from Dynamite in them. How long are they going to, like, they're going to take off these suits and they're just going to stand up on their own power?
So disgusting.
It's disgusting.
I wonder if you can take garments to a dry cleaner and be like, I need these de-smelled, but I will need the blood to remain on. Like, can you set it somehow permanently?
It was so refreshing also just to see like a tag team wrestle another tag team. Wow. Didn't that feel like such a novelty to you guys? I was like, huge. Wow, tag division's back. Look at these two sets of brothers who belong together.
So good. And I know that I'm like kind of biased because I'm just like, I love the Bucks and I think they're so good. But like Top Flight, like they just seemed so confident and good with the like where I was just like, oh, you guys are like killing it tonight. And they've been good in the stuff against Private Party, but when it's two young teams, like sometimes there are those moments where it's like, and nobody out here is really in charge. But it's just like it was just like, oh, you guys are thriving because your loving mentors are here taking care of you.
And there was a point where like one of Top Flight was doing something to Matt, and Matt just looked so like he was like hamily being like, oh my God, you're really beating me up. But like the vibe was a little bit like Elias being like, oh, you bit my ear and it hurts so bad. Dude,
you're so strong. Matt did do that great bit in this match too, where it's like in the middle of the match, he was leaning against the ropes, like hamming at the camera, being like, these guys are good. This is hard. Like the whole like back and forth between like I'm a great EVP and I want our company to succeed, and of course these are amazing wrestlers, and then like I'm a coward and a cheater and I'm like burying everyone at the same time and I'm the only one who should be successful. It's just like so fucking good.
And I know like that tweet got passed around everywhere, but that guy, that fucking idiot who was like, finally everyone's seeing that this is what the Bucks are like. The masks are off.
Like, I know, it's like
wrestling
girl,
fans
they put an even bigger mask on.
Sometimes it is like, are wrestling fans the stupidest people on earth? Like Larry David's right. No one knows it's fake.
I know.
My
it's
God.
like you're looking, it's a literal caricature. It's a 2D caricature. And people are like, there you go. As I've always said.
This is what they're like.
Like, they literally beat up Sting and Darby, and then they're like, we hear you guys aren't feeling great. Like, get better soon. And it's like, yeah, that's a real
That's
human
who they
right
are.
there.
Playing to the cheap suits. What did you guys think about Darby's? So Darby came out to rescue Tony Schiavone. He had Sting's bat, which he waved the Bucks off with. He was wearing a new kind of tough boy outfit. I was intrigued, but a little alarmed. Like, I was like, did someone tell you can't wear shorts anymore? You can. You can wear them as long as you want. You never have to stop. You're my little boy. But he was wearing a tough boy outfit, and then he gave this little promo. What'd you guys think?
I often think that Darby, he clearly has thought through a point that he wants to get across, and he's very excited to get it across. And I'm often like, well, that's not really the tact I would have taken. But you're doing okay. That's how I felt about this, where I was like, okay, so you clearly you want to buy into, like, we're making all of the terrible crit about the Young Bucks, we're making jokes of it. And that's what he did. And it was fine. Like, I think, like, the Bucks reacted to it perfectly, and, like, it got pops at times. So I'm like, I don't think that it did anything for you. Like, I don't think Darby also has to worry about himself. And, like, that's not what I would have done for Darby, but it was fine. Like, I don't know. It didn't bother me.
Yeah, I enjoyed it in the moment because there were certain parts of it that I thought were very funny. Like, he burned Brandon Cutler being in the first episode of Dynamite, which is funny because sometimes people are, including me, are like very nostalgic for early Dynamite, even though when you watch those 2019 episodes, you're like, yeah, Brandon Cutler is out here for sure.
Brandon Cutler tweeting later and being like, sources are saying it's never a good look to punch down.
Yeah, very funny. So I thought that was funny. And then, like, Cody also, like, referenced Cody, which got, like, a Cody chant going. And there was a moment where I was like, what if Cody knocked out here right now? Which the idea of was, like, so funny to me. Like, if Cody had to come crawling back because of all the stuff going on. So then I was just, like, in a great mood about that. And it's like, yeah, in retrospect, it wasn't, like, a great promo. I think he did a bunch of things that were like, that's probably not a good idea, like you said, for his character as much as anything. Because also being like, you guys didn't see anything in me. I had to wait to be on in AEW when he was on, like, the second episode or whatever.
Yeah, it's like you
had to wait a week.
You were there.
That's not easy. I wouldn't like waiting a week for almost anything.
Yeah, so hard.
I mean, we're on record for loving the Four Pillars feud, but that 1 week where the four of them argued over who Tony liked better was the weakest version. Yeah, this is kind of a version of that where I'm like, Darby, like, you've mostly been booked pretty good. Like, there was a period where, like, you also got, I think you got punked in, like, in your booking as well, but, like, mostly you've had it pretty okay. So I think you're fine.
It's funny because I do think a better tack would just be to be like, guess what? No one is so important that they don't have to respect other people. Like, if he just came out and was like a little, like, Mr. Rogers being like, this is such shitty behavior. You're being bullies. You're being mean bullies, and maybe you are really talented, but that doesn't give you a right to step on people.
Right, and he could even bring back, like, the early days and be like, you guys wanted to change the world, and I thought you guys were legends. I was like, you guys are going to be, you know, icons the way Sting is, and I was so proud to be coworkers with you, but you're not acting the way, like, legend should. I mean, like, a little better than what I'm saying.
No,
but, like,
totally,
like, there's a way that you could be like, and you could bring it back and be like, Sting's taught me a lot about what it means to be like a big name in the wrestling industry, and this isn't it. And it's like, that would have been pretty cool, but like,
Look, but you know what I thought I had? This is all true, and it's like, as always, let us backstage because we're cooking this up on the spot. This isn't even in the notes, guys. So it's like we could give you these notes anytime, and we'd love to, and it's fun for us and easy. But what was I gonna say? I'm just like so distracted. I'm like, and again, give us a job because or it's like we don't have to get paid. We just love to give you some ideas. But I was thinking about this, and I was like, yeah, this is not the angle to take, but it was like fine, and it was fun. What did he say that was so funny? The marble mouth thing he said, where he was like,
said mission statement, but he sounded like me when I have my night garden. Where you're like, mission statement. I know exactly
there was
how
something else though. It was like a weird verbiage that he used after that. He just doesn't, he's not, he really shouldn't speak just because he's not a promo guy. It's his mystique is, when he doesn't speak, it's better. But I was thinking about it and I was like, well, why would he do this? And then I was just like, this man is about to climb Everest. It's like, what do you want? I don't know. You let him go out there. Like, he decided to climb. He's a wrestler. He has all the money and he can do anything he wants in the world, and he's just going to climb Everest in 2024. Like, whatever. Just move on.
There's not a brain in that tiny little head. Like, he's doing his best, It was vaguely coherent.
He does such beautiful wrestling. I'm obsessed with watching it. I'm obsessed with when he's just glaring at someone. And once in a lifetime, he has a feud with Ethan Page where everything he says is right. And that's all. That's what we can say. That's what we can say. Okay?
It's so true. Every time I'm reminded of that feud, I'm just like, boy, just the perfect art of that Darby Allin, Ethan Page feud.
We didn't
feel like
know
pure
at
shit
the time.
Just want her back.
Yeah. It was fairly early on, and I don't think we realized, like, it's never going to be as good as we have it right now.
That's right.
No. Oh my God.
If we could go back in time.
Right. Darby's done a lot of things that we've enjoyed since then, but never anything that we enjoyed as much as we enjoyed that sit down with Jim Ross.
And same with Ethan Page. They've just never gotten to that level again, and I love both of them.
And because that whole feud was about, like, you chose normalcy, but I chose being a freak, and, like, I'm proud of that kind of thing. They both were leaning into that, where it's like Ethan Page really was like, that's my jock bully, and he beat me up, and then we kissed in a car, and then he called me a, and Darby was doing that press on nail bit where he kept gouging Ethan's eyes out with his long nail. It was just like everything they did was like, y'all are cooking. And they never cooked since. It's all cold food. But I mean, I like their food, but it's cold. It's sushi. It's still good, but it's not hot. You know what? We got to move on it. We got to keep going. Is there anything you wanted to say about the Bucks and Darby, et cetera, that we didn't say?
The fact that Matt's hair fought its way free.
Oh my God.
And he had a little moment where he tossed it over his shoulder. That was for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was beautiful to watch because he has that severe low pony. But when he wrestles, the hair says "Let me out." And I liked at the end when Darby was promoing and they were on the ramp, Matt had his hair tie in his hand, and he had been like periodically putting the hair back again, clearly because he understands. He's like, it is my beauty. I cannot let my beauty out. No. For this character. No, he is being selfless for us, okay? For the art. He's putting it away. He's for the art. He's putting it away. Art. But he was holding it, and I was like, he's going to put the hair back up, but he didn't. And I was like, you can have your one moment of weakness where you said, I still have it.
I want you to know that I could still pull this out at any moment. This is just
at any moment.
Just to remind you guys.
Any moment.
It's here. I'm tucking it away, but it's here.
In an instant, I could go girl mode, and you would be knocked out. But you know what? As we've said before, the IWC doesn't deserve girl mode. So now you get boy mode, and he's great at that too.
And you know what? Listen, I'm so happy that they're getting acclaim. They're getting, universal praise. Am I a little disgusted that it had to be when Matt was in boy mode? Sure. Yeah. It's something I've noted. I've noted.
I certainly thought about it.
Oh, you like him now because he's doing masculinity. Yeah, okay.
And now that he's performing masculinity, you like him again. Oh, sure. Now you say like, the Bucks are best in the biz. No one's talking about it enough.
Yeah.
You know what? They were the best in the biz when he was in girl mode too, but I got to see him in girl mode every week.
The way you were like, and now he's in boy mode, and he's great at that too. Like, just with this pained, like... Of course, it's not what any of us wanted.
It's like I'm from a UNC family and my child is going to Duke. Am I proud of him? No.
Of course, it's a good school objectively, I guess. Now everyone's praising him now that he's a Duke. Sure, I've not noticed.
It's not where I would have liked to see him succeed, but of course I want him to succeed, and I want other people to see his success at UNC.
And that's a little sports metaphor for our male listeners.
That's for James.
That's for James.
That's for James, yeah. Oh my God. Okay, we gotta move on. The Undisputed Kingdom.
We saw your comments about how we can't stop saying the United Kingdom.
A few people pointed it out, and what I'd say to you, love you so much. It is not as easy as it seems to talk this much. None of us knew that we'd said it, and probably, if I had to guess, 2 minutes from now, we will say it again. We will be saying the United Kingdom.
But get used to it. It's a stupid faction name. It's not on us. Everyone's saying the UK all over the place. What are we supposed to think?
Okay, undisputedly, the United Kingdom beat Chaos on Rampage this past week. I think someone pinned Rocky, but I don't know who. And then OC fought Ishii on Collision and won, but was, oh, right, I forgot. This is the part where I was reading the AEW recap. And if you guys haven't checked these out, you gotta check them out. Because I always said this, but not for a long time. In the AEW recap, whoever is doing them, and it's not Matt Jackson yet, they will have these paragraphs where every single sentence has an exclamation point. Let me try to read it. The Undisputed Kingdom surrounded the ring after the match. Taven and Bennett spiked Orange with a stuffed piledriver. Ishii sprinted back to the ring, and the Undisputed Kingdom retreated, tripping with a steel chair's reinforcement.
It is like, you just get the impression that Tony Khan has drunk like 5 Red Bulls and he just writes these recaps himself.
Mile a minute. He's just like,
we're
all having fun.
If you told me that Tony had his 5 Red Bulls and writes these while watching on the monitor in lifetime, I would believe you. I'd be like, that checks out.
Yeah.
It should be impossible, but I believe that he does it. And I also believe it because sometimes I realized this week they give you a lot of quotes, which is why they're good to read. They give you a lot of the promo quotes, but they censor them. They take out the bad words.
Yeah.
The bad words and the dirty parts, they'll just be like, and then the promo ended, parts. Actually. Like, there was nothing about beads in there at all. Yeah.
No tits, nothing. Okay. What did you guys think about the Ishii match?
It was good. I mean, I think Ishii had fun. It seemed like his vibe was like, he was just like, this is a goof.
Yeah, I like when serious guys like clearly want to have a match with OC and then they want to participate in some goofs. It's good stuff.
Yeah. I know, and he always has like one centerpiece special joke for them, like his one where he just like fell over flat on the mat, and I just thought that killed. I know that, and I know that killed when you suggested it too. You're like, I got a special little thing I'm gonna do in there. It's gonna be funny. Don't worry about it. Just a funny guy, but yeah, Ishii fridge. And he was so did I explain it? Oh yeah, they got beaten up. Oh, I read it in my Tony Khan voice, right? Okay. So then this week, Tony Khan announced that OC and Matt Taven would have a Texas death match on Dynamite. And he announced it on Twitter. And I do think, I was like, I wonder why you would do that. But okay. But it was the main event, and it fucked. It was so fucking fun.
It was so good.
It was crazy because OC's not like a deathmatch guy, but like this match went so hard and they did so many like just funny and creative things. And Matt Taven looked great. I was like, do I love Matt Taven? Actually,
I don't understand why this happened because Matt Taven came out of it looking so cool that I was like, should OC fight Matt Taven at Revolution?
Yeah.
Which is kind of not what they like. They should be doing this to Roddy. Like, Roddy, and I was like, why didn't Roddy have a death match with Greg and come out of it looking super cool? That would have done more to build for Revolution because we already know that OC can go. But Roddy still mostly looks like a dweeb because he's still like doing the yelling thing.
Yeah.
The last we saw of Roddy, I think, in this match, because everything went kind of haywire. We'll get into some of the stuff we liked, but everything got kind of haywire at the end because people were running out. It was our clown car where it's like Greg's coming out and another man, and whatever. Roddy came out and he's screedling around the ring, and then he got shooed off like a cockroach. Like, you're right. It's like Roddy didn't come out of this looking cool. Matt Taven, who's wearing big old white Mickey Mouse gloves all the time, came out of it looking cool.
Yeah. It was crazy. It's like, look how tall he is. Look how powerful he is. He's doing fun wrestling moves. Like when there was the table set up, and he was trying to get OC to fall into it, but OC kept saving himself, and then he ran to do a spear, and OC stepped to the side, and he went through the table. I was like, that was a cool little sequence.
Yeah, it was great. Awesome. And as I also developed deeper fondness for him as a performer when it's like they had the whole thing where it's like he did get OC on the table, but the table didn't really crack, and they did a little improv to be like, well, we got to crack the table. We got to fully crack the table. So he set it up, and he did, I was just like, wow, these are good performer instincts.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think Matt Taven should take the Revolution match.
He should incite a revolution against Roddy.
Woo! Woo!
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then they did this bit where OC got a box of chocolates out of the ring that were given to him by a little Chuck Taylor, and inside were a bunch of thumbtacks. And then Greg came down the ramp later with a box of flowers that had a pipe in it. I just feel like the Best Friends are so good at doing something like I haven't seen before that's like funny and thematic, and I had a great time.
They're really great at holiday matches. Yeah.
Yeah, they won Best Prop Work, I would say.
They did win Best Prop Work. Yeah. Oh, can we just say belatedly, of course Matt Jackson did win the Mommy's Little Ham Award this week. Oh, sure. I just want to say it. In boy mode, no less.
Wow. That's playing on hard mode.
It's a handicap for sure.
And yet
in disgusting boy mode.
And of course he's good at that too. He did win that. But yeah, they definitely won Best Prop Work. Well, we were all in a mood because earlier in the night, this show, we loved this episode of Dynamite except for the first two. I think it was the first two matches, which were mock stacks, which we'll talk about, and Wardlow's squash match. And the second Wardlow came out, we're in the group chat screaming like, "Oh, Wardlow can fight? Then where the hell is Dustin? So Wardlow's fighting, but Dustin's still gone."
Why did that happen? I thought it was because Wardlow hurt his knee.
Yeah.
Why did that happen?
Dustin somewhere just like in mild little tones, just being like, my ankle still hurt actually. So
do you think that like every time they have any kind of wrestling, like a booking thing, Dustin's like, "Oh, you can beat me up and write me off for a couple months," and Tony's like, "Oh no, I just meant like I'm gonna have to like change the order of the match," and like Dustin's like, "Don't worry about it. If you need to write me off the show, please, it would be my pleasure to take that beating."
And Dustin could have. With his little hurt ankle, he could still limp in there with a box of chocolates for OC. He didn't have to be completely hidden from my view, you know?
He said, I actually do have to be completely hidden. I don't want to be seen by my girls. I don't like to see my girls.
Freaking Adam Cole in a wheelchair every week, but Dustin can't come out here.
Dustin, they don't have any more wheelchairs back there. They can't put you in a wheelchair.
I'm in like full child, like it's not fair mode. It's like Wardlow, Adam Cole, but Dustin isn't here.
But then we were happy when OC brought his little box of chocolates out and you saw that it said Happy Valentine's Day, Chucky T, XOXO. My mood did lift so alarmingly. I was just like, that's his best friend.
Yeah, XOXO, hugs and kisses from Dustin.
That's so nice that he got him a present. Oh, and it's thumbtacks. That's something special they share together. Happy Galentine's.
And Orange Cassidy had the funniest look on his face where he pulled it off and he was staring down the camera and he was like, look at this. Do you want to see what's in it? I'll show you what's in it. And then he slowly pulled it up and he was like, thumbtacks, bitch.
Did you think it was funny too where he like took the like lid off it, but then you know how chocolates have like the secondary thing inside? They had put that on top of the thumbtack still, so he had to like pull off the little.
I loved it. That was theatrical. They said we want it to not be clear for a moment what's going on in there. I did think OC had a little expression like, it's so nice to get a gift from someone who knows you. Beautiful work. Happy. And I guess OC's still gonna fight Roddy, who can never be sure. Oh, I will read. Listen, it could be good, it could be not. So Greg did like jump in front of a punch or something. He took a punch. He jumped in to protect OC. And Excalibur said, Trent took the bullet for Orange. They shouldn't be calling him Orange. And then Excalibur said, Orange is lucky to have a friend like Trent. And someone said, Taz said, yes, he is. Trent took the bullet for Orange. What a Texas death match. I was just like, please stop talking about it like that, because when you tell me that friends are really good, then that's when I know that friendship is about to finish.
When you draw attention to it, you say, you can please look at the gun that's hanging on this wall.
Greg is only allowed to go rogue with Rocky if Okada comes and joins Chuck and Orange.
That'd be good stuff.
I don't make the rules.
Yeah,
Toni does, unfortunately.
Rocky does go here now, right? It happened after our episode recorded last time. So.
It kind of felt like the internet had heard us and been like, well, we gotta let him know, actually.
Actually, does go here.
He does have
a
bedroom here. Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Like, these girls keep saying I don't go here. It's so rude. Yeah, we're rude. We don't like I do like Rocky, but as I've said, I will never call him dad.
The thing is that we'll take our frustrations out on anyone. No one is safe. Maybe it's Greg, maybe it's Rocky, maybe it's Tony Khan. You'll never know.
I mean, you can see with us, it's like Brian Cage can do stuff and get in our good books, and Greg, you could get in our bad books at any time. Just keep that in mind.
You're basically in them now. No, you're not, Greg. I love you. You said you had that funny tweet about books, but yeah. Oh, and he reads Stephen King, and I love Stephen King.
Greg has been so funny on Twitter lately.
So
he's
funny.
been
because he's buttering us up because he knows he's about to make us mad. So, yeah. But you're right. He has been fun. You know what, Leah? You're right. I should give him credit. He has been funny. Thank you for pointing that out. All right. Shall we briefly check in on the old BCC? Okay. I made this up because I refused to read anything about it. So as far as I can tell, and we did watch a lot of this, Mox and Claudio fought two CMLL luchadors, Esfinge and Star Jr., I think, on Collision. And afterwards, FTR came out and into the ring, and they were mad, ? Absolutely no idea. I don't, if someone can tell us where this started.
Mox he had the mic and he like did the thing where he was like, and I'll fight anybody. I'm big and strong and powerful and I don't care. I'll kill anybody. And then it was like, all of a sudden the music hit. And I think it was supposed to be just like, oh, you think you can fight anybody? Fight me. And it was like, oh, fuck off.
I wish that the listeners could see me IRL doing Brazilian math meme face, where it's just like, not enough, insufficient. Yeah. They came out in that mood because Mox was like, I'm happy to fight anyone, whatever.
It felt very like FTR are just so creatively lazy and bankrupt. It's like they have no idea. So all they do is just like a run out to beat people up for no reason, which is like, come up with something. Like Eddie and Bryan Danielson are doing this like funny, like snubbing, passive aggressive thing. And that's like delightful. Yeah. That's new. That's interesting. Like FTR at least make up a thing where like Mox accidentally like,
they just can't, because I think that fundamentally their concept of narrative like is completely reactive. Like they will never be the people to do something interesting that others react to. They're always just like, I don't know, they're NPCs.
They have literally no ideas. Like everything they do is just like stuff from like 80s wrestling. And it's like, whenever Orange Cassidy gives an interview and talks about wanting to be somebody different and not just the new whoever, it's just like, yeah, FTR, like come up with one new idea.
Yeah.
This is the roast segment of the podcast, in case you guys haven't caught on. Okay, so whatever. But so that's good information, Leah. So they came out because for the reason of Mox said, I want to fight. And they were really mad already. They're so mad. So then Mox fought Dax on Dynamite. Opened the show. I don't fucking know why, because it was Mox. But that's why Dax wants to fight him. He's like, Mox gets to open Dynamite, and I want to open Dynamite. Fuck you. I was shocked this was only 18 minutes. I definitely would have said 25.
Felt like 300,
forever. And Mox kissed Dax.
Disgusting.
I need to be so clear. Y'all should kiss each other when wrestling if we like you. Yeah. But if we don't like you, you should never get kissed or kiss.
No. No kissing for FTR or Ricky. Absolutely
no
not.
Kiss.
It's off the table.
No kiss.
Disgusting.
I know some of you will be disappointed to hear it, but if we don't like you, no kiss.
That's our special interest, and you don't get to enter that space.
Yeah,
you don't get to play in that
ruin
space.
kissing for us. It's not right.
No.
You make us say gross when we see a kiss. That's not what we like.
No.
I'm homophobic, but only for Dax.
I was like, Mox, what are you doing? Like, you'll just kiss anyone? God.
That's not what you said, Anne. Why don't you tell the
Say what you
viewers
said.
what you
Say what you
actually said?
Yeah, I said, okay, slut. Like, come on.
We can't be honest on our podcast. Where did we be honest? Anywhere else, to be quite frank with you.
And to be calling a wrestler a slut derogatory, it's not right.
No.
It's not what I ever thought would happen.
No.
We're playing taps, okay? We're really upset. Sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's really sad. But anyway, so then, fight, kiss. Oh. Mox choked Dax out, so he lost. And then Claudio came out, and he and Mox kept like wailing on Dax because he sucks. So then Cash came out.
And the crowd was going crazy for it. The crowd was like, kill him.
Well, that's what was so funny. Like, is it because Cash came out and then they're both getting killed, and the crowd had been chanting for both men throughout the match.
Repulsive.
But then in the obviously gross. But then in the aftermath, they're fully just like, yes, Mox,
Choke him out.
kill him. It was like, yeah, that's right. These guys suck. FTR are fucking heels. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It's face.
Honestly,
it's choking Dax out is face behavior.
Yeah, it's like pie-facing Sammy. It's like, yeah, I mean, technically bad behavior, but you want me to not be on their side, you know?
I get it. The thing is, like, sometimes I think about this where I'm like, if FTR would just be heels, I am never going to like them, but I would be able to deal with them. But just the fact that they're like, no, we must be good guys, and we are good guys. It's like, you aren't. You're not. You never show me good guy behavior on my screen. You know? So that's what's going on.
And they get, you know, a humorless heel that can't come up with anything original. Like, there is a space for it.
There's a space for it, sure, certainly. Can't argue with that, Ian. Anyway, so he's escaped Collision Island. Because what are we going to see next week? We've got to see a fucking Dax wrestle someone else. More of them. 2 on 2 now. Well, they're multiplying. It's 2 men on 2. If I had to guess.
They skip. Collision doesn't air for 1 week, and all of a sudden they let Dax out of the cage. Like, what are we doing here?
Right. We're supposed to have a week off from Dax. When there's no Collision, we get a little vacation.
I don't like to see him on a weeknight. I don't like when I see
No, weeknights are for me.
Yeah. FTR are going to fight Claudio and Mox on Dynamite. Now, I do think that what's happening here, so BCC has been feuding with the CMLL Luchadors, and they are going to Arena Mexico, I want to say. Could be made up, but Ann will put in a note if it is. And so they're doing that whole thing. But I think the Luchadors aren't going to be at the pay-per-view, so I think this is setting up a pay-per-view thing. Because I think Dax want to be on pay-per-view.
Oh, God.
That's my theory. I
want to see Dax in pay-per-view.
Girl, trust me, I don't either.
This is like the first pay-per-view that I've been excited for since like
on paper, this pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's crazy. The build they're killing it with the build. And it's like, I literally have not been excited. There have been many good pay-per-views, but I haven't been excited for one ahead of time since before Hangman lost the belt, which is a really long time ago.
And the last one sucked so bad that I genuinely was like, I gotta stop. I gotta stop watching pay-per-views. But I'm excited about this.
Yeah. I'm so excited. And
when you don't do a pay-per-view every month and you give it a little time and we get some stuff together, that's good. It makes a good show.
We really had a hard reboot at the first of the year because AEW has been...
Yeah, it's been doing great.
I've been enjoying it. It's been great.
You know what? It might have been a couple months ago when we kept being like, just develop things normal. Develop a little every week, and then over time you develop a lot. This cycle has really been like, you're super doing that. You develop a little every week, and then they also have set it up really nicely where it's like every week or couple weeks, one more match has gotten solidified. So even if you have an idea, you think that's where it's going, like they are spreading them out instead of, I feel like, especially over the past 6 to 8 months, there were a number of times when it's just like, Tony, are there any matches? And then he would just like dump them all at once. It's really nicely paced.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
every week they announce a new match that I'm really stoked for, and that they've built up well, that I'm like invested in the storyline. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm liking it. Toni, I give you the credit.
I'm even loving it.
Buddy.
Leah likes it. Well, I actually love it, Toni.
Okay, well, suck up.
My nephew had an argument with his dad where over who loved his baby brother more, like him or their dad. And my brother was like, well, I think we both really love Henry. And Grant was like, no, you love him, but I really love him.
That's kind of the mental age that we're at sometimes, for sure.
So true.
Alrighty. Do you have anything you want to say about Eddie's stint for Danielson at Revolution, which is that if Eddie wins, Danielson has to shake his hand and pretend he respects him?
It's so funny. I kind of love it because it's like, it really is kind of what their feud has been about, but it's also, when you get down to it, so like pathetic. It's like, you have to shake my hand and you have to respect me. It's
something that I would like. If I was in a really bad place with someone, it's like I'm having a long, angry shower and I'm just like fantasizing about it. I'm like, and then they have to shake my hand and they have to say that I was right and that I've never done anything wrong in my life.
And then the whole bus cheered.
The whole bus cheered. Oh my God. Okay. Deonna and Toni both wrestled on Collision this week versus Kiera Hogan and Queen Aminata, and both won. Toni lay down in the ring after her victory, and she cut a little promo about how she'd be releasing a film on Dynamite. Said film was so crazy. It was great.
Crazy.
It featured Toni getting her matching friendship ankle tattoo covered up or like modified. Because I think is that what happened? It kind of like she got something done that is on either end. Was it a knife?
It's a dagger going through the
yes,
deck. Yeah,
and that's what the text means. Yes. Oh, I'd copied it in here. Well, okay, amazing. Well, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing that much. It's great. I really was so delighted by this. I mean, she said a lot of insane things in this promo, and the AEW recap refused to record them. So I can't quote them off the top of my head.
I feel like every week she is getting more and more like confidently insane. Like now she's just saying these like dirty and insane things, but like with such energy and just like, oh, she's really leaning in, and I love it.
How did she say dynamite? Did she say dynamite?
I think so.
Yeah, something like that. Siobhan.
She
said something about she said Deonna had like suckled at the tit of her brilliance or something.
Yeah. She had like her bosom of brilliance, I think.
Bosom
and then it was
of brilliance.
Teat of something else.
Yes,
I think.
You're so right.
Talent, maybe.
Teat of oh my God, Toni.
And of course she enunciates like a lunatic, so it's like the teat of talent.
And Toni is married to Juice Robinson.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this gimmick has made sense of that to me. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm like, oh, you are both crazy. That's amazing. I fucking love that for you.
Yeah, you two.
I love that.
You two were a bit marriage. Like, you're doing a lot of bits at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I could hear them all. I know. You're so funny.
Before she started doing this, it was so like, she just doesn't seem like, she seems very bland to be married to him. That's weird. But now it's like, oh, I see. Yeah.
In retrospect, I think she had to do what she did. Like, I just think like if she had done this walking into AEW, I don't think it would have hit in the same way. I think she had to have like appeared normal to us. But at the same time, it's like, I never could have seen this coming in a million fucking years.
No,
certainly not.
It's incredible.
So she did this whole art film that just the faces she was making, it was amazing. And then afterwards, Renee interviewed Deonna about it backstage, and Deonna said, Renee, Toni Storm talks too much, so I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I'm going to break your arm, bitch. Mwah. Mwah.
Deonna's great. She's coming in like this, like it's just maybe the best any woman has done right out of the gate. But it's like obviously it's set up for success by having this relationship with Toni Storm. But it's been incredible.
Yeah.
No, it's real. I mean, they've just handled it really, really well. Like they've been handling a lot of things really, really well. I mean, it's just really even if you don't. Well, no, I'm like no. People would disagree with me, but I would say whether you like everything that's happening or not, it's all being handled pretty competently. And that is delightful.
Yeah.
After a pretty chaotic year.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
You feel like there's a hand on the rudder.
Yeah. And it's like if I'm enjoying like more than 50% of the show, I'm pretty happy, you know? And it's like they've really raised their percent that I'm enjoying, which has been really nice.
We had a blast this week. I mean, we were not happy we were a little happy when we started with Dax Mox because some of us had some chores to finish. So it's nice to have the first 15 minutes that you can use to finish putting your laundry away. And then we weren't happy with Wardlow. And then immediately everything else, we were just like, yeah, I'm having a fucking blast. I'm having a great time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just feel very, like, I was coasting through a lot of the last year and trying to find my happiness in things and trying to, like,
oh my God.
make the best of it. And now to be in this place where I'm like, I'm just given treats. Like, I'm just handed a platter full of delightful treats. And it's nice. It's nice to be like, oh, I'm looking forward to Wednesday. You know, like, when's the last time we said that?
I know we were talking about it just the other day, not in this context, but your girls were going through the motions. Got Buffy. Got once more with feeling.mp3. Okay.
If we hadn't had this podcast, I might have drifted off wrestling for good.
We were in danger. But look at us now, thriving.
Thriving.
In February.
Thriving. In February, no less.
Yeah.
And do you want to just really, really quickly check in on Willow, Stat, and Stokely? Or do you want to kick it to next week?
Yeah. To have multiple women's storylines that I'm enjoying.
So fun.
It's crazy.
So nice.
Yeah.
So also in the women's division, we had Stat and Willow fighting the Outcasts on Rampage. And there was this plot element. I think did anyone see where the note came from? Where was the note?
I didn't see it. In all the recaps, it said she found it in her gear as she was entering. But I don't think we saw that. We didn't notice.
I hope we're going to get a little soap opera backstage segment about it.
I know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ann.
Oh, I was just going to say we didn't see it because we're bad at watching with our eyes.
We did unfortunately have to grapple with that a little this week. Sometimes we can't keep our eyes on the TV. So she got this note mid-match that made her abruptly turn on Harley, Cameron, and Saraya and walk out in the middle of the match. And then did you watch the soulmate thing? And I only watched part of it, but I saw the Jeff Parker part. Oh,
on the AEW Instagram is where it was. It was a little reel where they asked everybody if they believed in soulmates. And Jeff Parker was like, well, I do actually, just kind of a little personal thing anyway.
He was like, so, I guess like things have changed. A couple things have been going on in my life that have changed my perspective on this or something like that, where you were just like, okay, it's a little storyline thing, or I don't know, you're dating for real. I don't know what you two are up to, but you're playing in this space. So I don't know I guess he's living in California with his girlfriend, Ruby Soho now, and he's not paying child support. And he didn't even tell his husband he was leaving. He just packed a duffel bag and took the car.
Yeah. He said, oh, I found my soulmate. This is my soulmate now.
I found my soulmate, so I guess I don't care that we adopted this child and he's come to depend on me. Because I don't care anymore.
Their child's experimenting with FTR. It's pretty dark.
Oh my God.
My child is fine. No, your child is experimenting with FTR. Get real. This match this whole segment was kind of crazy because I think it was only it was not that long, but so quick. Much happened. Stokely is chill with Willow now. He's unwillingly been Stockholmed into liking Willow. Ruby Soho and Saraya stuff happened, and then Sky Blue and Julia Hart came out, and I was like, oh, we have a lot of women's stuff that is kind of cascading. That's cool.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, it made me wonder if Willow's gonna go for the TBS belt or something with Julia Hart, that would rule. If Willow got the TBS belt, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, and we had a Willow Sky Blue match on Dynamite with Stokely on commentary, which again was building on it's like he has accepted Willow. For now, he's accepted Willow into his heart, and he distracted the referee to keep her from losing, and then he got in the ring and he gave her a little fist bump, and they celebrated together. Yeah. I said, this is families. You can build a family. You can build a family.
You can not just destroy families by leaving for California. Sometimes we get to watch families get created.
On the weekly television program we watch, sometimes destruction, but sometimes birth. So
that's where drama is.
That's where drama is. TNT drama. Yeah, I mean, it's nice. As we've said, it's nice to have the women cooking different stuff. These are all like super different storylines. We really like the characters. You know, what do you want to say? We're having a good time. I'm happy that we're having a good time. I like us.
It's nice to have a good time.
It's nice to have a good time. And you know what? We can make a good time out of anything, but it's nice not to have to work that hard.
To be like, I hope I'm not too negative on the pod tonight.
We're showing up in a great mood. We're goofing. We're laughing. It's going to be a absolutely dank, nasty pay-per-view.
I know. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So what else can you say? Imagine that.
What I'm thinking, oh God, there's 4 hours of wrestling. Like, to not be thinking that ahead of the pay-per-view.
Oh my God. I'm you know what mode I'm going to be back in? Super Bowl snack mode.
Hell yeah.
I got a long pause on that one where most were like, I don't know. That's it. Oh, did you say what am I going to get? I haven't decided yet. I haven't started thinking about it. Maybe a little 7-layer dip, maybe some kind of bake situation, maybe a buffalo chicken dip. Could be something like that. Could be anything. Oh my God, what if I made Chico's tacos? Have you guys Chico's tacos is a where was it? El Paso. It's like in El Paso. I think there's a couple of them. There might be 2 of them, but it's like they give you these like flautas with this like really thin sauce on them and cheese and crinkle cut fries. And I lived in El Paso for one summer and I loved Chico's tacos. And now every now and then I do a big thing where I make Chico's tacos, knockoff Chico's tacos. Maybe I'll do those. Oh my God, that'd be so fun for me. Wow, I'm so excited. Okay, well, did I fail to bring up anything you really wanted to talk about?
I don't think so.
No.
We think I did good.
Thank God. I have been Allie.
I've been Ann.
And I've been Leah.
This is Tunnel Talk. Our theme is by Kris Corkin. You can find us on Twitter and Tumblr at Tunnel Talk Pod, via email at tunneltalkpod@gmail.com. Please rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. If you give us a 5-star rating review on any platform and then reach out to us, you can ask us to watch something of your choosing, wrestling related, probably, but I guess if there's something else, you can send that to us too. We save them up, and then when we get like 3, we'll do a special bonus podcast with them. And we have 2 in the tank right now that we're super excited about. So actually, we're kind of begging one of you who hasn't left us a review, if there's something that you want us to watch, go leave the review. You can reach out any way you want to send us the thing you want us to watch. You can also find us on the Social Suplex Network feed, where you can check out some of the other great podcasts on the network. And as always, please come back. Please come back next week.